the Natural Resources Commission, and I'm calling this public meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Tonight's NRC meeting will be a hybrid in-person and Zoom meeting. We have a microphone set up on the commission table and plans will be projected through the TV monitor. If you're presenting via Zoom, please turn on your audio and microphone when it's time for you to speak. Following the presentation by the petitioner and questions from the commission, members of the public will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment. Please identify yourself with name and address for the record. You can also raise your hand from your phone by dialing *9 and use *6 to unmute. All video screens will be turned off with the exception of any commissioners attending virtually and the current petitioner. Once the commission has acted on an application, the petitioner is free to leave the meeting. In the event of any technical difficulties, all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will be automatically continued to the January 29th meeting. Please note that the meeting is being recorded. At this time, I would ask the commissioners to introduce themselves.
Nick Pappas.
Thank you.
Gary Kleiman.
Thank you. Okay, so first item on the agenda is to allow for public comment. This is limited to up to 10 minutes with no more than 2 minutes allocated to any one speaker. Public comment is limited to items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments? No. Okay. So now we're going to approve 2 sets of meeting minutes for October 3rd and November 6th, 2024. Any comments from the commissioners?
I found no errors.
No errors? Gary, any comment? All right.
No, I thought they were great. I didn't read them as carefully as Nick probably did, so might have missed things.
I sent just some very small editorial suggestions to the October ones, but nothing material. So thank you. Okay, can I have a motion, please?
I move that we accept the minutes of, is it October 23rd?
Yep.
November 6th?
Yep.
With minor modifications submitted by the chair.
I second.
Thank you. And the vote, Nick?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Thank you. Nick and Gary, do we have any commissioner comments tonight?
No.
None from me.
No? And Delia, I believe you don't have anything.
It's been very quiet.
Okay. So we have 2 continuances.
Okay, I move that we continue to January 29th, 2025, without discussion, NOI, Annersnack Hill Road, Annersnack Hill Association, 18A College Road, DEP file number 137-1690. Also NOI for Ahmed, 355 Garfield Road, DEP file number 137-1688.
1686, right?
168.
On the agenda,
Eight.
it's 1688.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was jumping ahead to the next one. But yes, I second.
Yeah, thank you. And the vote, Nick?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Okay, so the first of our continuances to be heard this evening is 110 Spencer Brook Road, DP file 1371686. So who do we have represented? Oh, hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
So I am Seth Donahoe with Dillson Roy Civil Design Group. I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, David and Miranda Lee. We were back before you in November 20th meeting, and this was a discussion pertaining to a garage and barn building that was going to be constructed on the site. The commission had asked us to consider a couple revisions and make a couple revisions. So we have provided some updated plans that do exactly that. One of them was to reduce the width of the gravel driveway that's going to access the structure. Originally, it was at 12 feet wide. It's been reduced to 10 feet. We were asked to clarify the existing fencing. It was in a lighter AutoCAD layer on the prior plan, and I can see it's dark on your screen right there. And that goes around a substantial portion of the property. And it provides access to the barn building in the back, which is utilized by the horses for the property. The applicant has confirmed that the proposed structure will not house horses. That was a concern, I think, of neighbors and the commission as well. So it's specifically to house the trailer and the vehicle, and then some tools that are used for the upkeep of the horses as well. Information regarding manure management was provided in a letter that was submitted to you as well. They have Metrano removal that is removing the manure from the site. That's done via a container that's on the existing driveway. And there's a professional manure management service that comes around and does that on a routine basis for them. And then one of the bigger things that we were asked to do is provide a tabulation of areas. And so that is on the first sheet of the revised notice of intent plan. And included with that is mitigation in accordance with the town's policy. So there's about 2,750 square feet total. That's for both the proposed barn garage building and the access way, and the mitigation will exceed that as well. So the result of the project is a improvement to the vegetative buffer on the site. So we're providing both screening vegetation and some naturalization of the existing field area as well. So sheet 2 has a listing of all those planting types, sizes. I see it coming up here. Your text on your screen is like hieroglyphics though. So we have a seed mix and then an abundance of plantings as well. Part of those plantings, some of the neighbors have expressed some concern about screening. They've been specifically put along that area to provide screening for the neighbors' benefit as well as the applicants as well. The commission had also asked us to look into the feasibility of positioning the structure at the terminus of the existing driveway. So we prepared an exhibit plan that actually went through that. That's exactly that document there. What's not really reflected in plan view on that is that the existing barn, which is the light gray outline building there, that's actually where the horses stay. It has stable pens, or I don't know what the correct word for the housing of the animals actually is, but that's interior to the building. And their access way is on the western side, so the left side of your screen there. So what we found was problematic is to provide that access. They have to get into that area. Well, we could position the building in that area. It would result in a slightly reduced setback to the wetlands. We're proposing a 55-foot offset to the wetland with the preferred location. This results in a 52-foot setback. And then the relocation of the fencing, which would be required to allow the animals to get around to the barn where they actually spend their evenings. That would require essentially removing the existing vegetative buffer and creating a bigger footprint of alterations. So this proposed layout resulted in about 6,100 square feet of alterations, whereas our proposed layout on the notice of intent plan was limited to 5,700 square feet of alterations. The other issue with this location was that there's several mature trees in the area. The entirety of the existing driveway, which is plan view south or the bottom of your screen, that's lined with some fairly large mature trees, mostly conifers, pines, there's a couple maples mixed in as well. And there's also some very large pines to the rear of the proposed alternative location. They'd likely be impacted by this. Our proposed preferred location on the notice of intent plan does not require any removal of tree. This would estimate about 7 trees to be removed in this location as well. For those reasons, as well as the applicant's desires to be able to have their horses keep using the existing barn in a reasonable manner, they much prefer what we presented on the notice of intent plan. So we'd ask the commission to consider that with the mitigation that we've provided as well. That is a summary of the changes in the documents that we brought forward to you. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, so as you alluded to, there was a letter from the abutters that laid out many things.
I saw that.
We're taking into consideration. One specific common concern is where the mitigation whether it's actually just gonna be eaten by the horses and survive.
Yep.
I guess, so I'm not sure if the plan you'll have here takes that into account with some larger shrubs in a different area, or you're still proposing that a lot of the mitigation is the wildflower seed mix?
There's a substantial amount that is also the trees as well. So there's American hornbeam and
Okay.
some white pines that are mixed in that as well, mostly along the perimeter areas as well. I did receive correspondence from your office.
Mhm.
They were kind enough to let me know that, and I spoke with the applicant. They are 100% willing to do mitigation on other areas of the property as well, removed from the pasture. The intent of this was to do it in the proximity of the area that's being worked upon,
Yeah,
but they'd have no objections. And while outside the scope of the notice of intent, they intend to do landscaping throughout. And they'd like to work with the commission on that and going forward.
okay. So you've been discussing,
No, so we had relayed comments,
Mhm.
we had the same comments about concerns
Okay.
about the horses. Trampling the mitigation area proposed in the pasture and suggesting that there might be an alternate location that was. Not necessarily proximate to the disturbance, but that was within the buffer zone.
I think they'd still like to do some in the pasture. There's some screening that's basically absent. I actually have pictures of the pasture area if the commission wants to look at that tonight. The relevant area would probably be behind the existing barn along the northern property line. There's essentially lawn that goes on down to much of that area. That seems like a very good place to supplement the vegetation there as well.
With what?
Shrubs and trees as well,
Okay.
probably.
I mean, if it's shrubs and trees, I think that's one thing.
Yeah.
The horses are just, if
Yeah.
it's wildflowers,
yes.
Oh,
exactly.
this would be
Yeah.
removed from the area utilized by the horses entirely as well.
Right, okay.
okay, so
Yeah,
you'll
shrubs and
submit
trees.
a revised plan.
I can talk to the applicant so I guess their hesitation was, couple options were thrown out here. If
Right,
we're headed in the right direction and this is feasible in the commission's eyes, by all means, we can put something together to supplement this area as well.
yeah, so forgive me, because I don't think this new plan was provided to us before, was it? I know it's thing with the, or maybe it did, and I just thought
Which
it was
one?
part of the letter. Okay, the
Yeah.
plan on the right.
Yes.
I was thinking it came with the letter, but it was separate. Okay, got it. So I guess I would like to understand more about. I know it's not the preferred plan, but the potential revised plan. I'd like to understand a bit more clearly about the fencing and what trees would have to be taken down.
Yeah, so that's actually called out on the exhibit plan itself.
Right.
So if you
Okay.
don't mind pulling that up, I have some small portions of it too.
Okay,
In the letter as well, there's a photograph of that particular area. The pines in question at the back of the property, they're about 22-inch diameter trees. They're substantial. In the area along the western lot line, I think there's a mix of spruce and some low-lying shrubs in there. So essentially, we propose the fencing right up to the 25-foot buffer zone, no disturb line to allow for the animals to get around the structure while still respecting the commission's 25-foot no disturb. It does require substantial pushback of the fencing essentially. So the area removed from the fencing does have plantings. I can pass around that picture if you'd like to see. That would essentially have to be removed to allow the animals to get around and get into the barn that they utilize at this point. And then the other area, there's a call out on the bottom of your screen. The driveway itself has some substantial trees along it, and providing access to that would require the removal of the trees. The other issue that's related with this area too, you can see that there's some grading lines depicted on there. To get into the garage itself, that has to essentially be a nearly flat axis or 2% grade. And we would have to build up that area to allow that to happen. And in turn, that drives the area that the fencing could be in the end result there.
Okay. Okay, Gary, Nick, any
Where would
comments?
that be, where you'd have to change the grade?
So there's some grade lines in red
Right,
going around
yeah,
the
I see it,
building,
yeah.
so we would essentially be matching the grade of the existing driveway.
Which
Very
is where,
slight change, so about 168 feet,
oh, okay,
and it goes down to about 164
okay. I
is
see
the
it,
existing
yeah.
grade at the
yeah,
back.
Yeah,
And how would the fencing be altered? That's what I'm trying to understand, because, I mean, I see the trade-off of losing the 7 pine trees, but what would be happening with the fence and the horse path, I guess, to get access to the existing barn?
So that's depicted in the red line with the boxes.
Yeah.
There's a call out for relocated fence. So there's an existing fence which essentially coincides with the back of the
Mhm.
alternative structure location.
Ah,
That would block, the structure would block
Yeah.
the entrance to the garage, so we would have to, or excuse me, the barn. So you would have to push the fencing back to allow the animals to walk around.
yeah.
So the entrance to the barn is on the left?
It's, yes, correct, the
Not the right?
western side. Well, it goes through,
The white, right, there's an opening on the right-hand side.
correct, but that would be the same issue. You would have to extend the fence over to the right smaller pasture area there. The primary entrance is on the western side there.
From the pasture area.
Correct. So the pasture is actually south,
Yep.
those who've been there have seen it, it's out by Spencer Brook Road.
And what is the distance between the proposed structure and the existing barn?
Ideally, it would be 20 feet. I believe there's a fire code issue for that. That's actually drawn a little bit less there, to respect the 50-foot buffer zone.
And what is that distance?
Between the two right there?
Yeah.
I think it's 17.
but
And
that's
that would be
not code.
acceptable if it's not code then?
There's different building code that they can do for the cladding of the structures and things.
Okay, so this is what you would do. You would have permission to do this.
But, I mean, they could apply for that.
Right.
I don't know if they would want to do this.
Okay,
This
yeah,
was-
no.
The intent of this was for discussion,
Yeah,
to talk about the feasibility, the pros and cons of it.
well, true, but I'm just wondering if you're putting up a plan that isn't gonna meet code, then that's what I was asking, but you said there would be a way for it to meet code.
I think there's always a way, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so yeah. Gary, any other thoughts?
I mean, just from an NRC perspective, it's clearly beneficial to pull the whole structure out of the 50-foot buffer, which this alternate location does, right?
Both options are outside of the
Both do.
50-foot
Outside of
buffer.
50, right.
The preferred one slightly further, actually.
I think there, there's,
Different part of the buffer. Yeah, okay.
yeah, I mean, it does seem, that you're losing less of the pasture by citing the structure here, and you're consolidating the structures into one area and
Yeah.
leaving, the sort of pasture itself less.
It's disrupted.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. So you've made it clear that the owners, this isn't their preference, but what's the main reason for it not being their preference then?
Accessibility of the barn. I think from an NRC standpoint, removing the proposed location on the notice of intent plan has the benefit of, it's essentially field. There's
Mhm.
no trees that need to be removed for it. Whereas this one, we're removing existing standing large vegetation. Frankly, the abutters may disagree, but a lot of that vegetation is providing screening for their benefit as well. The other end of it too is, I don't know how long the fencing's been there, but we would have to push it back even closer and
Mhm.
expand the pasture closer to the wetlands in this scenario.
Mhm. Okay. And then I just wanted to see if there's anything else in the letter that we had, maybe I'll open it to public comment. If there's anything else in your letter that you want to highlight that hasn't been discussed tonight.
Sure. Ray, do you want to say the piece? And in particular, the context was other items in the letter that they hadn't talked about. I think, why don't you introduce things and I can jump in?
Yes, first of all,
Name and address for the record,
Fred
please.
Stewart, I
Name and
live
address,
on
thank
a
you.
budding property, on the left-hand side of what's showing the screen. And my house is owned by a trust, and I've talked to all four members of the trust, and they're all in agreement with my comments, and these are the same as in a letter that was written to the commission. First of all, this isn't it's not a garage barn, it's a garage.
Mhm.
It's a garage for a very large horse trailer, which probably accounts for the long section, which is 20 by 50 feet. It's big enough to use two horse trailers. I've seen two horse trailers on the property, and I don't know what the intent for the inside of the garage is. We have no information other than the information that the committee has. So I'm gonna make some remarks about the barn. But a lot of that is guesswork because the information hasn't been forthcoming about exactly what can be done. Let's see, first of all, we like the alternate plan better than the original plan because the amount of loss of pasture is half. And you talk about litigation and replacing lost land. There's no part of the wetlands that are lost by this. The loss is a pasture. And the loss of pasture is half with the alternate plan and with the original plan. We also see that it looks like the alternate plan could be improved with a few small changes. If the barn is moved south, maybe 20 feet, you won't have to cut down any of those trees behind the barn. And that's assuming that the trees on the plan are accurate, the location of the trees on the plan are accurate. If you move the barn a little bit to the west, which is to the right, you can actually connect it to the driveway, which removes the requirement for about 40 feet of paving there that's shown on the alternate plan. And also moved a bit to the west is and would prevent removal probably of all but one tree along the tree line that goes up on the existing driveway. Now, we sent you a map with this with our modifications drawn on it and a new position for the barn. And I actually changed the footprint of the barn on that, which may not work at all because I don't know what the inside of the barn is supposed to look like. But I think that if the if the barn were required to be in that location, I think it would be easy for the owners to fiddle with things a bit and improve and lessen any damage to the buffer areas.
Thank you.
Uh,
So it might be
I don't-
helpful to,
It's not my place to design the.
Right,
barn.
right, right.
It seems
No, we
to me that
understand.
Just thinking about the wetlands.
Yeah.
That there's still room for a lot of changes in this alternate plan, and that I think we think the alternate plan is much better than the original.
so it might be helpful to understand the need for the size that is proposed for the structure.
Yeah, I can actually speak to that.
Mhm.
So I noted the abutter, they actually took pictures of my client's truck and trailer there. So the purpose of the length of the structure is specific to keep the truck and trailer, and they've alluded to that, and that's 100% correct. It is a large trailer. They have 4 horses, so it needs to be a substantial size. And to move that, it needs a full-size truck as well. So the barn's limited to only 20 feet wide. That's a standard garage bay. And that's what can fit this vehicle. The flare on the side is just to allow for a small, essentially a shed to keep the tools that are used for loading, unloading, taking care of the animals as well. We noted within our reply to the commission that the applicant, not only are they not going to keep the horses in the new structure, they'd have no objection to limiting that no herbicides, chemicals of any sorts would be in there. So I think just from a practical standpoint, having a vehicle in a garage is beneficial for many reasons, versus just parking it out in the open. Some of the abutters may not like to see the trailers. They've commented on it, and this would resolve that either way. So the sizing, it's essentially constrained by the vehicle itself, and it's not much bigger than the vehicle.
I do have just looking at the letter
I
again.
understand that they'll be loading horses into the trailer. And if they're moving horses in a confined space, that has to be large enough for them to be comfortable doing it. So I'm not arguing that the barn should be smaller. But if it could be rearranged a little bit, why, it would improve things.
Thank you. I had 2 questions just sparked by looking at the letter again. Is there going to be any electrical, water or other
So
utilities? to the
it's on a
garage?
well.
Okay.
The house is on a well, so we had actually spoken about that at the last meeting. We're not proposing to have any water in
Right,
the,
okay,
in the
thank you. I can
location.
remember that.
There's the call out for the electric line on the far side away from the wetlands of the gravel driveway in this
Okay.
location. We didn't detail the utilities on the exhibit plan. It's just for discussion purposes of this meeting.
Yep.
Not really for a permanent basis, but we do show the electric line on that point of view
It's
as
the
well.
same, on the same service as the house,
No, they would probably run a separate surface off that.
so there'd be some way for the poles or trench or some way that electricity.
Yeah, the utility line is actually on, this side of Spencer Brook Road, and this utility pole just off, so the Concord Municipal Light would dictate how they would want that landed and connected there.
But it's up to you whether it's above ground or
Well, so it
underground.
needs to be shown on the plan too.
So we have,
Wherever you
Yeah.
land.
so we
Yeah.
do have
Yeah, I was
the,
wondering if there's any impact on.
Right.
The buffer
Yeah.
or anything.
so we call it out right down there. The connection would be in the right of way.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it would go how, by trench or above ground to the barn, to the?
I'm assuming a trench, and that's the intent on the plan.
Okay, and that doesn't go through the buffer area at all?
No, it's in the entirety of the pasture, it's essentially in the buffer.
Okay, and then there's also a question about the depth of gravel for the horse trailer weight. Has that already all been factored in?
Yeah, I mean, a standard gravel driveway, 12
Yeah.
inches.
So nothing different to what we've already seen on the plan?
No, correct, yeah, and the driveway itself is essentially mirroring the existing grade there. You can see there's very minimal grading for that.
Yeah,
If
Yeah.
you've been to the site, there's slight grade change in the proposed structure location. We talked at the last meeting that the structural location is actually confined by the zoning setback and this commission's own policies as well.
Right.
So that's why it's located where it is.
Commission want to do a site visit?
A site visit might help me. I'm having a hard time sort of understanding.
Vishal,
I've
Hmm?
actually driven by and couldn't figure out just on a drive by exactly where things were on the property, so I
Mhm.
think I would benefit. From a site visit.
I would like that too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be helpful.
We can arrange that, I'm sure. Fairly
Sure.
I'm
quickly.
out of town all next week.
So am I. But maybe we could do it this week.
Not
No.
with public, not with.
Oh,
open meeting
public
law.
meeting. I'll be around next Friday.
Next Friday?
You're
No,
gonna
no,
wait.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, wait.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna,
no,
week of
not
the-
next Friday.
I'm
definitely
gone the
not.
week after.
You do have the ability to go out and on your own with the application open.
Okay,
Maybe it would be helpful if you could stake. I know that the existing location was spray painted.
Correct. I'm not sure if it's still there, but we
Right.
can freshen that up.
If you can freshen that up
it's
and
okay to
then
walk onto the property? Up the
I'll have to
driveway?
check with
you can,
the
Okay.
applicant.
you can, because there's an open application, so
Okay.
the
Just
commission.
let
has
them
the
know that
right-
you're coming.
Yeah,
Sure,
thank you for
okay.
courtesy,
Absolutely,
of course.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Um,
I could go by on my own to look, so that works for me.
It would be helpful if you can also spray paint the alternate location as well.
I'll put some type of marker.
Something.
The horses are in and out. That's a trafficked area. but
steaks, anything.
I'll put what I can there, yeah.
Mhm.
Frozen ground, never mind steaks.
Yeah.
I'll get them in.
Bales,
Yeah.
bales of hay.
okay, well, thank you for that. I mean, and then we will, well, we need some, don't we need some revised plans?
Well, I don't think you want any revised plans yet until
Until, okay,
you decide
yeah. that
which
makes
way you want to
absolute sense.
proceed. I think you might also just want to discuss, I mean, there are some things in the abutters letter that are probably not within the commission's jurisdiction, but the ones that are within jurisdiction, I think you probably want the applicant to respond to those.
Fine.
If we can walk through those just. so
Yeah,
that
maybe we can do that
indication
just to make
of
sure we're
what-
not missing
What you'd
anything.
like a response to if I can't reply to them tonight.
So I think they've made some suggestions about an alternate, sort of rejiggering the location of the alternate location. So if you can look at that.
Again,
Okay.
I did before this, I think it's apples to apples in exchange for
Yeah.
impact type of thing, but
Okay.
we can talk about that.
Okay. And the third page. Let's see. There's a request to fence off the mitigation area, so I think the mitigation area is gonna move because it's not
Mhm.
gonna make sense in the past.
The applicant was open to that.
Yeah, okay.
This, the statement that the new long driveway would be required, is that factual or
Where are you?
on?
Yeah, I mean, if in the proposed location, there is a fairly extensive, it's a lengthy driveway.
Which is avoided by the other, okay.
The butters are asking that the commission receive a copy of the permit for the horses. That's something that should be dealt with the Board of Health. It's not something that's in the commission's
I
jurisdiction.
put that comment in there for the town, actually.
Yeah.
thought
I
that the
did speak to the
town
Board
should
of
have
Health,
had
yep,
That
and
information readily
Yep.
available.
they will, the Board of Health will reach out to the applicant to make sure that they have the correct minutes.
Okay.
And the utilities will be wherever you place wherever the final location is.
Yep.
Determined, those will be on the plan. And you have a detail on the, amount of fill for the driveway. And for the structure. I think I think that's what this is requesting, so if you can, if. include
We
that.
can put the specification for the gravel.
Yep. And a description of the number and type of the horse and trailer and truck, usually with a garage. It's not something that the commission would require, understanding what goes inside of it, that there can be. Limitations on, what hazardous, oils and hazardous, usually that's when you're in floodplain or something like that.
Yeah, and I think we've discussed all those.
Yep.
Anything related to that.
I think that was,
Yeah,
let's see.
from my perspective, it's, be helpful to have some kind of an alternatives analysis to understand the impacts on, impervious surface, the tree removals, fencing locations, and, impacts on the buffer area. So yeah, these other details, I agree, are mostly outside of our purview, but that's what I'm just trying to get a handle on is, the difference in terms of wetland impacts of the two
Yeah.
different alternatives.
And if you can look at that, the second proposal, or the alternate proposal, just look at that and minimize what those tree removal and other impacts might be. So if that's shifting the location, pulling it back onto the existing driveway, or, some other,
Yeah,
possibilities
I'll
that-
have to talk with the applicant
Yeah.
of what they'd be
Understood.
willing if it were to reach an approval or permit status to what
Yeah.
they want to do at the end of the day,
Yeah.
but we can look at positioning it differently than that, but as I said, both locations are constrained
Yeah.
by the 50-foot buffer
Right.
essentially,
Okay.
so
Right,
it's not like
No, I understand.
an alternative would be putting it outside the 100-foot buffer zone or further away. It's actually the opposite in this case.
understood.
This is David Beam. I'm in a butter. I live in 383 Poker Road. Can I just add a couple of comments which I
Yeah,
think are
please do.
relevant, particularly in the light of the visit? I would ask that when you go and do the visit, the one significant difference between the two plans is the driveway. So we've got 175 foot by 10 foot by a foot of gravel. So basically, we're going to dump 1,750 cubic feet of gravel on the pasture. I think that's a very significant difference, and I just ask that you observe that. Mr. John Hughes has observed once again that he does not believe that there would be any tree removal involved in the original proposal. If you do go and take a look at the location, particularly with respect to the entrance to the driveway, I don't know how you don't remove trees in order to back that trailer in. And frankly, so on the plan, in fact, there are a couple of trees by the entrance to the driveway that aren't actually even marked on the plan. I don't know if just the plan was focused on the pasture. There are a couple of trees that you'll see it very vividly with your own eyes. I think the other comment with respect to grading, and I'm by no means a grading expert. However, by the looks of it, the proposed garage, the originally proposed garage, is at the highest point of the property, and just visually, optically, looks significantly higher than Spencer Brook Road, and that's just standing there and eyeballing it. So I think it would be ideal if the grading could be appropriately measured, but it just it would surprise me, given that this is literally in the highest point of the property, if there aren't any grading issues. And then just the other observation from the letter was the erosion control barriers. I don't know if they are intended to be permanent or temporary. If they're temporary regardless, there's going to be some interference to the 50 to 25 foot zone. If they're permanent, there's even more interference. And, you know, once again, we're dumping 1,750 cubic feet of gravel onto a pasture. We're driving a 10-foot, I don't know the weight of the tonnage of the truck, but we're driving a large vehicle onto that structure, and it would surprise me if some of that gravel is just not going to get dispersed. It's what happens when you drive vehicles over gravel. So I'm curious about that. And as I say, just to reiterate, the erosion control zone is absolutely well within the 25 to 50 feet buffer zone. So they're just some points I'd ask that when you visit the
Yeah.
site, you take into consideration.
I had a question related to that. So one would have to back the truck and trailer the whole length of that driveway from the road.
Correct, yes, and that's why it's straight too.
It's quite a backup with a trailer.
They're
With
doing
horses in
it,
it.
they're doing it now, so.
Okay, okay, so that's existing practice.
Yeah, I mean, well, the butters took a picture of the exact vehicle that's all the way back by the house, which is
Okay.
even further back.
Yeah, I just want to make sure there's no turnaround that's suddenly going to be
No,
required.
no, and I want to clarify too, that the erosion control barrier, those are temporary, the commission notes that. There's no work in the 25-foot buffer zone. That's removed.
Well, you're installing an erosion control barrier there, right? So there is some work there, just to be clear.
It's not in the 25-foot buffer zone, so
It's
the,
25 to 50.
that's incorrect, sir.
It is-
So that the lines are,
Look at the map.
it's,
Sorry, just look at the map.
it's on the screen, so.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Could I possibly point out the area on the map that I'm referring to, and possibly I've misunderstood the reading of the map because I'm not a geometry student. Would it be, can I stand up and just point to where I'm drawing
Well,
that
maybe
conclusion
can-
from?
are there-
Zoom into it.
Yeah, they marked on there anyway.
Yeah, see, there's a 50-foot, there's a line from the corner kind of that L shape showing 50 feet. If you eyeball that, you're going to, that erosion control barrier is 10 to 15, it's
25.
exactly 12.5 feet if the measurements are right. But it's safely into the 25 to 50 foot zone.
So the
There's the
25
25.
is a dotted line, it's very faint,
Mhm.
and
Correct.
it would be helpful if you made that
sure.
more
But
clear.
to be clear that there is work with the erosion control that goes beyond the 50-foot. The commission's policy is that structures need to be 50 feet away. We exceed that.
Yeah.
And there's no work in the 25-foot buffer zone.
Correct.
So just to be clear, the proposed erosion control barrier that doesn't constitute work,
It's not.
No,
It's not in the
it's not in the
25.
It's outside the
25.
25,
but
It's
it's
in the
within the
50.
25 to 50.
Yes.
yeah. But that's
It's not a
And is that
structure,
acceptable?
yes.
Yes, that's okay.
I'm just gonna pass around. This is the entrance to the site. There's
that'd be
questions
helpful.
about the trees, so you can keep that for the file if you want. You can see there's an existing gate there. And,
Which is the gate for the existing driveway or the new one?
oh no, this is, in the proposed new location.
Okay,
But the gate is not, if I look at the plan, the gate is further over than the entrance to the driveway, the new proposed new driveway. That gate is not where the entrance is. If you
So
look at
the intent is to respect the commission's 50-foot no structure with the driveway, so it is shifted slightly up gradient, but we've located all the trees. Those are located
Mhm.
by surveyors
Yeah.
throughout the property.
Okay, thank
And
you.
we've positioned everything to respect the trees and the 50-foot buffer zone in this case.
Okay. Well, thank you very much then. So we will be in touch about a visit, well, we'll do a visit and
Yeah, if you can let me know so I can let the
Yeah.
applicant know.
I think you should just let the applicant know that the commission will stop by to visit. There's 3 people on the commission who wants, I don't think you're gonna get a group attending at the same time, because
No.
it doesn't sound like people's. So if you can let us know once, the structures are staked or
Okay.
marked.
Yeah.
And just let them know, and then I would just advise the commission, when you go.
Yeah.
Just knock on the door and let them
Cool,
know.
yeah.
I think it's gonna be hard to schedule, to
Yeah,
let
I'm-
them know
I'm
with
leaving
3
town
to
on Monday,
5.
So I need to know I can go onto the property by no later than Sunday.
Well, so when an applicant files the commission has the right to go into the
Okay.
property. And of course, we want the applicant to be
Yeah, but
aware.
I'm talking in terms of this, thinking in terms of staking and,
Yeah.
indicating where things are gonna be. The sooner the better, because
Right.
if you can communicate to us when it would be set up, so
Yeah.
that we could see it
Yep, I can
best.
check our
Yeah,
schedule.
that
would
I'll
help.
let you know.
And
Yeah,
if
that'd
that
be
could, the sooner that can be done, the better for me, just because I'm disappearing Monday morning. Really.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I'll let the
So
applicant.
continue to the 29th.
Yeah, I'll let them know.
Thank you.
You, Karen, will let us know when they say.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. It'd be good if you had a map. It'd be nice, give us maybe, or email us whatever the best plan is, or just should we pull it off the site, off the
We'll
website?
email you something to take out, or we
Yeah.
can print out copies if that's,
Yeah.
if that's easier.
Thank you, Jean.
Okay.
And I'll just clarify for the applicant too, that the site visit is for the commission.
Yeah.
Butters, they can't go on the property.
It's at the applicant's discretion
Yeah.
to allow.
Correct, yeah, and that's their discretion.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They
Thank you
could
very
act as
much.
Witnesses from the public road, though, if they chose to do so, I assume. No, just because he's making the clarification, I assume
Excuse me?
that your butter has the right to be on a public road at any moment in time.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It would be nice if you could look at the pasture. when it's wet. Because the lower area of the
Mhm.
pasture is actually underwater, some of the time.
Mm. So we have reviewed the delineation on the side where the structure is proposed. And feel comfortable with where those flags show in terms of confirming the wetland boundary. So you've probably seen those stakes.
Right, it's not a boundary, it's a condition of the wetland.
Right.
Particularly if the horses have been in there.
Sure,
You talk about planting things in this area and.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
actually don't work at all.
Okay,
right,
thank you.
agreed.
We need to move on, so I'm gonna move on to the next the next application. So we have continuance of Taurus Investment Holdings at 300 to 310 Baker Avenue. Daniel, are you representing?
Yes, I'm here on behalf of Taurus Investments.
Good evening.
Good evening. All right, so since we last met with the commission, the outstanding item was the GPI peer review letter for the project. We had made some revisions to the plans and submitted them to GPI on December 20th. And they issued a updated peer review letter on January 6th, this past Monday. They are comfortable with the hearing being closed based on that. There's a couple of things in the letter that they're just requesting be done as part of the building permit plan set. It's some details and riprap additions and some minor stuff like that, but there's nothing major outstanding on that. So they had noted that they're comfortable with the closing of the hearing and issuance of order of conditions.
And we did modify the conditions to include. And I actually don't see that in this version. To include two special conditions that the ZBA had. Or that the planning board had recommended to ZBA, but let me just get those.
While Delia is looking that up, were there any comments from Nick or Gary
No,
on this? No?
No, none from me. Looks like they've
No.
addressed all of our
Agreed.
Right here.
You have it up?
concerns.
There's that one.
Want to share
Make sure
this
I'm
one?
having
Yeah.
the right ones.
Yep.
Yep.
So special condition 29 is new. And it syncs with what the planning board is recommending to ZBA. And then there's a new or down. Yeah. This is also just making sure that the drainage system prior to infilling is inspected and any changes may require an amendment to the order of conditions.
So both of those, my name's Kevin Hurley, I live at 25 Line Street. I'm a land planner and I represent the owner of the land and the applicant. And both of those additions would be fine with us.
Thank you. Thank you. So if the commissioners have no comments, are there any other public comments on the application? Okay, well, we're ready to issue an order of conditions
This is
then.
the right one?
I'm not sure.
Would you,
See
Mark?
how many permission. That's I think the old one.
Yeah.
57.
That's what I
57,
figured.
okay,
Okay,
57.
so you got a new one to print out for me to read?
57 conditions.
57 conditions, okay.
Yeah, 57. I have it in front of me if you want me to move it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I move that we close and issue an order of conditions for DEP file number 137-1683, the project at 300 and 310 Baker Avenue, with finding A, standard conditions 1 through 20, and special conditions 21 through 57.
Second,
Thank you. And the vote, Nick?
aye,
Gary?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Okay, thank you, Daniel.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay,
Good luck with the ZBA.
Thank you.
yeah. Okay, so moving on, my understanding is that 445 Fitchburg Turnpike has come off the agenda, correct? Okay, so we're now
Oh,
moving.
sorry,
oh.
Danny is here, but
Oh.
hi, Danny.
Hello.
So we did not receive the final ANRAD plan. So tell us how you would like to proceed.
Okay, we did send it this afternoon. It might have been too late.
So we did get a plan, but it showed it had the structures, it had.
Yeah, and we got your red lines and we did respond to that with a further corrected plan.
None of us have seen it.
Yeah,
Okay.
nobody- So there were two changes that had been made, but I had asked that that an ANRAD plan be submitted separate from the COC plan. And in addition to the ANRAD plan, you know, those two red line changes that I suggested, that the plan that was submitted that I received at the end of the day was had the red line changes made, but still showed the structures, which makes it, you know, those aren't typically shown on an ANRAD plan because it makes it confusing. Since you're only looking for approval of the wetland boundary. So to show an as-built condition on an ANRAD plan is confusing, so I'd ask for those to be taken off. And I don't think we've received that plan. And in any case, the commission hasn't seen it.
Okay, you want the existing structures removed from the plan?
So you have two filings in front of the commission. One is an ORAD, one is an ANRAD, that is
Yep.
simply a wetland delineation approval request. That
Okay.
shows there's, you know, as-built or proposed or
existing,
doesn't usually show anything. I mean, if they're existing, everything's grayed out. It's really just focusing on the wetland delineation, right, for the ANRAD plan, and then the COC request is showing your as-built conditions. So they're really two different plans.
Okay. That would. We typically just show, you know, existing conditions on an ANRAD plan, but we can remove those structures.
Yeah, what you're showing is an as-built plan. Showing the distance from wetlands, you're showing the as-built condition. It's not, it makes it
Yeah.
confusing. To show it
Okay.
as an if that makes sense.
Yeah, all we did was just change the title block to say resource area delineation plan. That's just how our office typically does it, so we'll take that off.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so once that's,
So I did
Yeah.
relay that to Montgomery, in your office. Did speak,
earlier today,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But,
Yeah. I
our
didn't
next
see the
meeting
comment
is
about.
January 29th, Daniel, so should we just continue to then?
Yeah, unless the commission wants to move forward with, it's gonna be the same plan, just removing information on it. So I think if the commission's not comfortable doing that, then yeah.
Well, we'd like the whole
I would
document package to be
yeah,
together as
I'd
we
like to
approve
see it
it.
all, clearly.
Okay, like I said,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the same plan, just removing the structures.
We understand that again.
Thank you.
Okay,
I don't think the commission's even seen the 4 o'clock
Right,
plan. that
exactly.
was
We haven't
sent.
seen the one that just came in. No.
okay,
Okay, thank you. So I'll see you in 3 weeks then. Is it 3 weeks? Yeah. Or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, yeah. Yeah.
3 weeks, yeah.
Okay, so next we have 59 North Branch Road, which is an NOI DP file 1371691. Who do we have? Who represent this? Stephanie?
This was Matt Morrow, right?
Yeah.
That
Oh, right.
He's on the call right now.
Oh, good.
Oh, he is?
I see him on there, yeah.
He had a conflict, I know, but.
Oh, here he is.
Here he is. In a spaceship. Oh, we can't hear you now? Oh, there you go. Okay. You're jumping between meetings?
Yes, can you push the meeting until he's done with the other meeting, please?
Oh,
So we've got a few more things, so yes, we can.
yes, we can move on. Yeah.
He got called into his other meeting about 30 seconds ago.
Okay,
We can't hang in very long. I mean, we have one
we have
more
one
topic.
more.
One more hearing.
It's not gonna be long.
So we'll do the next one and then we'll come back to you.
I'm ready.
Thank you so much. I
Okay.
hijacked his computer.
Okay. So we're gonna then move
Yeah,
on
Matt.
to 1861 Sudbury Road, the Country Club, and this is NOI DP file 1371693. Good evening.
Good evening. And we're pulling it up now. My name is Jeffrey Brem. I'm representing Nashotah Country Club for over 20 years now. Long time. This project is on the back of the building that we redid in 2017 and 18. I think it went into 19 too. But they never really did anything with the pool and the back area, so now they want to address the pool patio is in kind of disrepair. The pumps and the pump buildings are very, very old. We saw you a few years ago for the kiddie pool, and I don't know, you probably don't go out there because it's a private club, but they put the pumps outside, so they're outside now, and visually it's not all that appealing. So, and they want to bring the pool facility back to, 2025 standards. So there's a little shade area on the left of the plan you see there. So that's it. It's a pretty small job, but it's all in the riverfront area. A little bit of it is in the buffer zone, tiny bit of it is in natural heritage. Not a tiny bit, a decent amount. So, so we need to file with you, which we've done. In the application I submitted to you is a letter to Delia, but it's really to the board, outlining 5 specific things. So let me go over them. So one is a new upgraded pool pumps, filters in an unheated shed, which we're moving to the left side. I should have brought my laser pointer, but on the left side of that plan, that dark gray building right there. Changes to the pool area patio and lawn area, and that you can see throughout all those light and dark colored green areas and squares is the patio. New pool access ways and a small expansion of the enclosed kiddie pool area. The kiddie pool area was being expanded a little bit to the right where that lawn is. And new pool area lighting. There's very little lighting there now, so it's a security issue. And the lighting they're proposing is pretty minimal. But they do want some lighting there. And then new miscellaneous stuff, such as putting retaining walls in, benches, new gateways, new access ways. So that's the project. It's all around the pool and it's all in areas that have been previously disturbed, of course. We did need to send a letter to Natural Heritage, which I did. I tell you, I think I learned a lesson. I did it as soon as I could when the plans were ready. And they have 30 days to respond, and they responded well inside their 30 days. And so I think I'm gonna do that from now on. Anyway, Lauren Glorioso, who was the original person back in 2017 and had left for maternity leave, was back, and she wrote this letter to you January 2nd, which has the same conditions as the big project. And if you don't remember that, there are 3 bird avian species in the area, 1 special concern. I won't name it out loud because I think they want to keep those quiet, but there's 1 special concern and 2 endangered. The letter's in your file. And the big issue is they want to start the work, have noise during the mating season or the migratory season. So that's the big deal. We have to have work during, they don't mind us working, but we have to start before April 1st. And during the April 1st to July 31st, they want continuous noise. So that means no more than 4 consecutive days without making noise. And what that does is it keeps the birds from flying nearby and nesting in that area.
Is there a statement of the quality of the noise?
It just needs to be construction noise loud enough so that they won't hang out.
Yeah, you don't want them nesting there.
We were struggling in 2018 with the timing, and they said, we don't even care if you record construction noise and put it on loudspeakers.
I hope the members enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be done. Actually, we don't know, because they wanna have this all done by May, middle of May, in order to operate it for next year. There's a lot of work to be done on their end. So they think they're gonna postpone this work. So we're here today for a fall project.
Okay.
So this is probably gonna get continued tonight, and I really don't. Okay, so that's Natural Heritage. They're all set. And you have to condition their letter as part of your conditions, which you've done before. Next is the plan itself. So let me go through that. The gates, the new gates, there's a new security gate. Well, let's start with can I walk up to the plan? I should have brought my plan.
No, just use the, just.
Yeah, he's appointed because there's people.
Yes, do have a painting. All right, so where's so right here, there's a new entranceway. Currently, there's a door right here, and this is only for service. So when they're bringing out food or drinks out to the pool area, the service don't have a decent way to get in and out. So this is a handicap accessible new service area. So there'll be a ramp up here and a gate that will just be for service people. Also in the same vein, right here is the gate, the doorways to the fitness center to the right and the club straight ahead. And this is where everybody walks. And right now they're walking right across here through the lawn area. And the original plan was to have them walk down here and around, but nobody likes to do that. So they're just walking straight across, and they're kind of messing up the lawn and their feet and so forth. So they want to put a walkway in here. And then this part right here, while we're at it, this is the expansion of the kiddie pool area. So the walkway will kind of line up, and then along this, boy, this is a tough mouse. Along this here, this is a retaining wall along here. And they're gonna be benches and seats, because this is an area they found that people congregate. It's below, up here, there's a patio and a stairway that people can congregate outside. And they found that, people coming into the club this way, going to the pool, going to the fitness center, and this is an area where people get to talk, and they just thought it'd be a good place to put some benches. It's kind of the main entrance for the members, so to speak. This is still the primary entrance for the members to the pool, and they do this for security reasons.
They want to make sure that everybody comes in and out of one entrance, which makes sense. They're gonna add a new, I think they just did a gate here in their fencing, but it's actually right here. They're gonna move that to here, so that's a double gate for access for larger things, so that they could bring, golf carts in if they need be to move stuff around. There's also gonna be a gate. They do not have a gate here at all. And this is the card barn and the golf pro shop and so forth. So everybody has to either go through the building or walk all the way around to this gate, and it's caused them an operational problem, so they want to put a gate right there. The existing pool building is right, well, it's on a different sheet, but it's right here. And then again, behind that is the pump for the kiddie pool, and they're gonna move that over to here. They considered moving it to this building or expanding this. This is the pool building where the bathrooms are in the office. But because of the pipe work that is underneath all this patio stuff, and it's going in the wrong direction, they would have to bring everything from here over to there and then back over to here again, because it all enters the pool at the deep end. So it was my suggestion, why don't we just go outside the pool area and put it at the edge of the cart barn? This is kind of at the back door of the whole facility. So that's what they decided to do, and then that gate helps with service for that. Now, the roadway in the back, still struggling with this mouse, come on.
It's because of Zoom, it's not the mouse.
I'll slow down.
Oh,
Right,
it's
there's
the
a
wagon-
roadway
it's the
behind the
wagon
building,
Zoom.
right here. And so we're gonna reduce that no less than 20 feet, because it's a fire department requirement. But they're gonna expand this area and turn it into, there is existing pavement in this area. They're gonna take out the pavement, and they're gonna take out the patios, and they're gonna put this as a astroturf or in synthetic turf here and some grass here. These areas, you don't really care, but that's gonna be canopy shade type of thing. Structures where they could bring it open and close the shade as needed. They currently have a whole slew of umbrellas right over here, movable umbrellas. So that's the general plan. There's some details here. There's gonna be a retaining wall right here. This area here, the fencing goes like this, so this area becomes grass where it's not grass now. What are the details? That's pretty much it. Now then, you can see the purple line is natural heritage. So everything east of this line is in their zone. You'll see the wetland is here, down here, the 25-foot zone is. Actually, this plan is the new plan, okay, good, so there's the 50-foot. So a tiny little bit of work is in the 50-foot, but no building. And I do have to amend, Delia, I saw just a few minutes ago, I did amend a table, we had a table that was part of the application that had a couple of wrong columns. So this was listed in the 50 to 100 feet, but it really is in the 0 to 50 feet.
Okay.
And then this work is to the red line is 50 to 100 feet. And so there's a decent amount of work in there. All of this work now, because it's all in the riverfront line is way up here, so just about everything is in the riverfront. Just so you know, of the whole site. The site's 160 acres, and a large portion of that. 2 out of 6, a third of that is in the riverfront on this property. So it's a huge amount of riverfront. So everything we're doing is in the riverfront, and we got a response from Bert yesterday. So I'll update you, and I responded back to him today, and that's where I said I did mess up this table originally, but I fixed that.
Right, so
You don't
so
want
we
me to go
did
into
just
that?
get, no, because nobody's had a chance to look
Okay,
at it.
that's fine.
So, but thank
Yeah.
you for getting that to us, and we'll certainly take a look at that.
Got it. I think that's it. So we're expecting you to look at that and continue this to either your next one where I'll be away and I could zoom in, or if you want to go to the March one, I'll be around. I
February.
won't be around till
Yeah, the
March.
next one's 27th of, or is it
You will be
29th?
around in March.
Oh, you won't be, oh, that's right.
I go skiing every winter, so
29th of January.
that's fine.
I could do that by Zoom call.
Okay, that will be fine. Yeah, great, thank you. So all the comments on here have all been relayed.
Yeah, and we
um,
did get revisions.
And we got the revi-
I
yeah,
don't know
okay.
that we've had a chance to get those out to you yet. Maybe they're, I think maybe Karen did and they're up on the web.
I think they came out just before the meeting. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
you mentioned that existing walkway, nobody uses it, and why not?
This one right
Regrass
here?
that and then
I
create a
don't know
new
if nobody
walkway.
uses it, they don't use it to go to the pool, because there is a big parking lot right here,
Mm,
and there's a parking lot over there. I just think that when they come out of this door,
yeah,
they don't use it to go that way.
Mhm.
But these people here, and there's a big parking lot right here, they would
Yeah.
use it to go in.
and what is the thought behind the synthetic grass?
Mm.
Why not grass pave or something other than plastic?
Who's that? You were spacing, I didn't hear you.
Sorry, what is the thought behind the synthetic grass?
I
Why
think
not
it's a play
something-
area for kids to, small children to play on, sit on, not being concrete. So they could sit on it and play with balls and with other things, and other people can put, chairs on it and not be on concrete. I think that's.
But
the
have you
idea.
considered just regular grass?
I think it's too tight of an area as far as maintaining it decently. And they're gonna put chairs on it too, lawn chairs and stuff, and so now it's gonna. And, they're expecting beautiful grass, not like you and I necessarily would have in our backyard, but everything there is perfect. I think, and it's also very pervious. This is not, just synthetic grass. They sent me data on it. It runs at like 20 minutes an inch grass. So it's on a sand base and it's fully pervious. At first I didn't believe them, so I had the landscape architect send it to me.
And do we have those details?
It's in the
It's in there,
landscape
okay.
set.
Okay,
So I don't go through this too much, but there's 9 pages in the landscape set. It's in the-
okay, I'll take a look at that. Gary or Nick, any
Nothing.
comments? No,
There's no new impervious area being,
We're reducing it. There's a table, Billy, if
Okay.
you wanna go to
Okay.
the right a little bit, and we're using that synthetic grass as part of reducing it, but we're reducing it by 1,210 square feet, I think.
okay.
Oh, no.
but
You have the power.
you're reducing it with this.
All right, right there's the table right there.
grass?
And is that site-wide or is that within
Just in this
jurisdictional
area.
areas?
Just in this.
Is it within jurisdictional areas or site-wide?
It's all jurisdictional area. See the
But is it,
line right there? So the
Um,
line that's in
oh, I
your
see. Okay,
jurisdiction
right,
is right
right,
up
right.
here.
it would be helpful just to break out where that's occurring.
Break out.
That's a good question, though. I want to remember that for another project.
Okay, I'm gonna open for public comments.
Yeah, I want to speak to the issue of the artificial grass. Several areas.
Name and address, Janet, please.
And my name is Janet Miller, address is 1647 Main Street. First of all, the way the artificial grass is made is that the molten plastic has PFAS added to it so that it will through the narrow apertures. So the artificial turf, people say it's PFAS free. They will have tested for 18 PFAS and there are several thousand of these compounds. So that's one thing. And if you say PFAS free, I mean, what level? Are you talking about parts per trillion? Because that's the level that has to be kept out of drinking water. And wildlife also can be poisoned by PFAS. Excuse me. My other concern is microplastic pollution. Microplastic pollution has been shown to be in waterways from the abrasion, the degradation of the plastic blades. And I don't think you want to have. Excuse me.
You want some water, Janet? Want a glass of water?
I'm almost finished, I guess, but thank you. Jill, I mean, those are big concerns, and you're putting furniture on it, they will abrade that plastic.
Thank you.
What's your preference, Janet? Is it actual grass? Because I was thinking,
Well,
well,
it-
almost anything else I can think of, like carpeting has the same problem. Anything else that they use other than natural grass, but I can appreciate the difficulty of trying to maintain natural grass in those constrained environments.
Mm.
So it's a difficult situation, I think.
It is I can see that, but there's one other thing, you talk about it being permeable. Yes, it's permeable and that water can flow straight through it.
Mhm.
But the runoff is as rapid into the surrounding wetlands as it would be from concrete. And from the point of view of flood protection, artificial turf is actually classified as impermeable.
I wanna wait till Delia gets back here.
Yeah,
Thank
okay.
you.
So the answer is, this is out of my domain. I'm not an artificial turf expert at all. I know what PFAS is, think I know what microplastics are. But I'll get you more information on that
Thank you.
from the landscape architect. If I were to answer this, it would just be
Yeah,
thoughts from my brain, and that doesn't really make
and
any
consider if
sense.
there's any
Anything else?
Any
that could be used?
alternatives,
Right.
yeah, that would meet the needs.
I'll ask the club, obviously,
Yeah.
if they have any.
Yeah,
So I'll get back to you on that.
thank you very much.
Mhm.
And thank you for your comments, Jill. Okay, any other comments before we close this for this meeting?
I have a comment, please. My name's Catherine Brustowitz. I'm in a butter. I reside at 80 Birchwood Lane in Lincoln, Massachusetts. My husband, son, and I are directly across the Sudbury River from Nishotic. And I'm just hoping that you might be able to clarify some of the proposed mitigation measures. Right now there already are some pretty significant light and noise pollution that carries across the river and impacts us, as well as the wildlife and the wetlands. Would you be able to share what's being done to mitigate the impact of the light and the construction noise during the proposed construction and thereafter?
And actually, if I may add to that, it's just reminded me, I did want to ask about the lighting
I
you're
did too.
putting in.
Yeah.
And whether it would be on all the time or, because we're always worried about wildlife and lighting, artificial lighting.
And to add to that, from prior applications when I was on the planning board, I know that the planning board had required a specific shade of light, the amber lights that are wildlife friendly. So just
Dark sky compliant.
dark sky compliant, but also I think there was a wildlife friendly bulb that they used.
So we
There was
conditioned
a
that, so
color.
that, right, there is a
Yeah.
color that
Yep.
we do require. So yes, having those
Yes.
details
Okay.
checked would be helpful.
As far as the lighting, that's again out of my domain. It's on the plans from the landscape architect. We had to count the number of light fixtures because we could, if we were exceeding 10%, we would need to go to planning board.
Mm.
So we were under the 10%. So I know a little bit about the lighting because I had to count the number of fixtures. I think it's 22 all I'm told, but I will get more information on that and the color. As far as your question, wherever you are, on the noise. The noise will be as construction noises. They are going to remove all of the patio with, machinery and break it all up and move it all off the property. I think the schedule, whether it be in the spring or the fall, is really a very aggressive schedule. So that work would be in a few days, the loud part of it. I should also say that it's weird that the noise level is from Natural Heritage. They actually want us to make noise. It's a little bit ironic. And if you were at the hearings during the 2017 and 18 sessions when we remodeled the club, there were people from Lincoln at those hearings. And we did address
the large lighting from the parking lot, just like Commission member mentioned at that time with the lighting and the color and the schedule was all detailed out, and I'll get you the schedule for that. I'm sure the schedule will be no more than the schedule is for the parking lot. It would be probably less though.
Great,
They're
thank you. Can
not
I ask just
planning-
one follow-up about the noise?
Yep.
Thank you. So you had mentioned that the noise would likely be consistent for several days, but can you address the timing of that noise? I mean, oftentimes even now, delivery trucks will arrive before 6 a.m. some mornings and wake us up, and I'm just a little bit concerned about what time of day and night the construction is going to be occurring.
Do you typically, Delia, put a condition for that?
Well, there's a town bylaw, you know, in terms of, it's seven, you know, there are restrictions, in terms of construction.
I would think, I'll
Not
get,
delivery trucks, that's something you would have to take up with the club.
I will get information on that, and I'm writing it down, but I believe that it would be under the standard town bylaw for start and end and Saturdays and Sundays.
Right. So it shouldn't, the construction noise shouldn't start before 7 a.m. and would not occur. I don't think it is allowed on Sundays. But that's a noise bylaw. Yeah, it's a townwide bylaw.
Okay, and is there any contact information in the off chance that we need to lodge some type of a complaint if there's noise occurring outside of the bylaw approved times?
That's who the building department,
That's the building department.
Paul Creedon.
Yeah. Building inspections.
Thank you.
Without names.
Okay, are there any other public comments?
I do have one last comment to make just with respect to the mitigation plantings. I just have some serious concerns regarding the impact on the wildlife within the riverfront and the buffer zone of the wetlands. And I do believe that landscaping could appropriately curb some of the ecological impacts and negative impact on the wildlife. Are there plans in existence right now to plant native screening vegetation to help protect the wetlands a bit?
There's a landscape plan, a 9-sheet plan set that goes with it, and the plants are all listed there. I know the firm, Lemon Brook, and they would only use the right kind of plants. They're from Concord.
That's all on our website, right?
It's on the website. So
That
it's
should, yeah.
it's under our current meeting documents.
Great, thank you very much.
I do have a question that we have not touched on. The proposed addition does include the removal of 3 cedars.
No, we're moving the
You're moving the addition.
building, yeah. It's correct on this plan. The previous plan, it was
Yeah.
all the way to the
So
edge.
this is
Okay,
the
so it's
revised
shifted over
plan.
into the
Shifted
middle.
over, and to be honest with you,
Oh, I see
Delia,
the growth.
it was how I designed it and some landscape architect moved it, so.
Yeah.
When I
So
saw Bert's comment, I'm like, well, who moved my building?
Okay,
Okay, so,
so tree protection.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll protect the trees, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
show
point.
protect,
They're not in the
Tree-
greatest shape, but I
tree
understand.
protection on the plan, please.
Okay. Per the bylaw.
That is, that's not a bylaw, that's our, we have a detail that we can share with you.
Okay, that'd be great. I've seen it where they put the wood on it.
Not the cladding, not the,
Okay, whatever it is, we'll
those
put
like,
it,
you know, around the drip line.
yeah.
okay, so I think we're good to go for tonight, and thank you
Great.
very much.
Can I just get your name before I close?
Janet Miller.
Janet Miller, that's easy enough. Thank you.
Do you need any other contact information?
No.
Okay.
And do you know who the abutter is? Did you guys write her name down?
Yeah,
Catherine.
Yeah, my name is Catherine. The last name is Brustowitz, Brustowicz. And my husband is Clark Winchell, Winchell. The property's been in the family for over 60 years. And we're at 80 Birchwood Lane in Lincoln, Mass.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you very much.
I'll see you at Zoom.
Yep. 2
Good
weeks.
night.
Okay, So now we're gonna go back to 59 North Branch Road,
Sure.
if Matt is ready.
I didn't expect to see you here.
We can't hear you, Matt.
Transportation committee.
Try it again.
If you're very,
Sounds like you're in a
cloudy.
spaceship.
Okay, how about now?
That's better, thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks. Yeah, to get you back in spaceship. If you're familiar with the 1960s TV show Lost in Space,
Yes.
the gentleman that played the pilot on the cast, Mark Goddard, was a personal friend of mine. And he passed away about a year ago. So some of us keep this stuff up in his memory.
Nice. Okay,
So I am here for 59 North Branch Road, Stephen Shapiro. Delia, did you want me to share my screen or?
You can.
Okay, thank you. Sharing is not turned on.
Hold on.
Yep.
Go for it.
You see this okay?
Yes.
The replacement septic system within the 100-foot buffer zone. We have a 200-foot riverfront buffer that goes approximately to the back end of the house. Here, the 200-foot riverfront, there is no work going on within the 200-foot riverfront. There is a vegetated wetland that comes well off of the stream, which I believe.
Matt, you're coming in and out a bit. I
You need
don't
to
know-
speak closer to your microphone.
Yeah.
No. So just a very brief, I think it's a straightforward project. If he could just be very brief, I think we can pick up. Oh, he's gone.
He's still on.
No.
No, we can't hear you, Matt.
We tell him to try to call in.
Yeah. that's
Oh,
very
Can you
good.
hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So essentially, I'm going to be real brief while I still have bandwidth here. So what we have is a replacement septic system within the side yard of the single family home. It's partly within the buffer zone. The tank is being put essentially in the same place as the prior tank. So we're going to have a new tank in. The actual leach field has actually been tucked up farther away from riverfront in the 50-foot buffer zone. The sewer line going into the house is going to go by a rhododendron. The rhododendron won't have to be removed, but part of it may be trimmed back to accommodate the line. There is no tree removal that will take place on this. There is a tree line right next to where the leach field is going, but it's not going to go anywhere near them. The tree that is shown in the front yard is an ornamental Japanese maple that is not going near that either. There's erosion protection on the box labeled line 8. You can see the dark line behind all the work. That will be put in place and left until the area stays. That's basically it, guys.
What's happening with the old tank? Is that coming out?
The old tank will have to come out and be removed off site.
So it's literally taking out the old one and putting in the new one in the same spot?
That's correct.
Okay.
And Board of Health has reviewed the plans.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. That was the only question I had. Any other questions from the commission?
No.
Well, I have a question about the leach field. So is there no leach field now? It's like a dry well, or are you replacing the leach field as well?
The leach field is being replaced. There is an existing leach field now. If you notice on the plans where you see the boxes, one, those are the limits of the leach field, and the other box labeled 1 is the tank. So the leach field essentially goes right about here where you had the limits of what is a conventional system out here
Yeah,
being tucked up in here.
I see.
It's-
So, yeah, very much replacement in kind. Sounds
Yeah.
fine to me.
Yeah. Are there any public comments on this one? No, in that case, we are ready to close the hearing and issue an order of conditions.
Yes, I move that we close the hearing and issue an order of conditions for 59 North Branch Road, DEP file number 1371691. With finding A, standard conditions 1 through 20, and special conditions 21 through 49.
Second,
Thank you. On the vote, Nick,
Aye.
Gary,
aye.
and I'm an aye as well. So thank you very much, Matt.
Guys, thank you very much, and thank you for your patience with me tech. Oh,
Okay.
No worries. Thank you.
have a good night.
Good night. So the certificates of compliance have come off the agenda, is that still correct?
Yeah, so we had two certificates and I have not had a chance yet to go to either of those to confirm. So we
Okay.
will put those on the agenda for the 29th.
Thank you. And other business extending the Warner's Pond Task Force timeline.
There's a proposal for?
Yes, so the task force, the Waters Pond Task Force was expected to complete their work by December of last year, and they have not. So they are meeting regularly and diligently. They still have a little bit of work left to do. They anticipate being done by the end of March, but I would suggest just extending the time frame through June 1st, just to give them a little bit of buffer, so that they have time to.
And that means essentially they have to have their recommendation to us and then no more meetings after June.
Yeah.
1st,
Right.
okay,
Okay.
okay, and my understanding is they're not ready to go to town meeting
Yes.
for 2025, so it's gonna be the following year anyway.
If anything, yeah.
Yeah, if that, it goes to town meeting, yeah.
Do we need a motion to do that? Okay, I move that we extend the life of the Warner's Pond Task Force to June of 2025.
June
The end of
1st?
June 1st, 2025.
Second,
Thank you. The vote, Nick,
Aye.
Gary,
aye.
and I'm an aye as well, thank you. And then lastly, we received a letter from Anne Clifford to nominate Walter Clay of 675 Sudbury Road to the Historic Districts Commission. Any comments on that?
No.
Questions? No?
No, sounds good.
Do we need a motion for that as well? Yeah,
Okay, I move that we appoint Walter Clay of 675 Sudbury Road to the Historic District Commission as the NRC delegate, or what's the right?
Liaison.
Liaison, okay.
Second,
Thank you. The vote, Nick,
Aye.
Gary,
aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Thank you very much. I adjourn this meeting. That's 8:35.